Meeting called to order at 7 p.m. on October 16th. We'll go ahead and, Madam Speaker, if you want to.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Really quick, we have a new senator to swear in. Mariana, if you want to approach the lectern. Or I guess you can stay there. Never mind. You're good. Okay. So Mariana was one of the RHA senators that we voted in last week, so she just needs to be sworn in. So Mariana, if you want to hold up your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear or affirm to execute the duties of my position as prescribed in the Constitution and laws of the government for the benefit of all students. Congratulations.
Moving on to roll call. You can answer by present or here. Advait. Alucard. Bender. Blair. Khan. Crab. Colbitson. Donlinger. Fritz. Green. Gonzalez. Hanyang. Heasley. Johnson. Class. Klein. Lipford. Ludwig. Mass. Meredith. Mitchell. Orger. Rice. Rinchi. Rolling. Samanu. Schrader. Searles. Stanley. Samuel. Tonette. Zastro. Dollinger. Moving on to Pledge of Allegiance led by Madam Speaker. Since we don't have programs for tonight, we'll move down to open forum. Open forum is an open discussion for issues relevant to students. Anyone wishing to speak can approach the lectern.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate. For those of you who don't know, I'm the College of Vet Med Senator. My pronouns are she, her, hers. That's actually what I'm here to talk about today. So today is International Pronouns Day. Referring to people by their pronouns that they determine for themselves is a basic human dignity. And so if you guys don't know what that means, I'm just gonna give you a small little blurb from mypronouns.org, which is a really good resource if you're unfamiliar with this topic. So it's kind of like a question of like what and why do we care? So like what are personal pronouns and why do they matter? So in English, whether we realize it or not, people frequently refer to us using pronouns when speaking about us. Often when speaking of a singular human in the third person, these pronouns have a gender implied, such as he to refer to man or boy, or she to refer to woman or girl. These associations are not always accurate or helpful. Often people make assumptions about the gender of another person based on the person's appearance or name. These assumptions aren't always correct, and the act of making an assumption, even if you are correct, sends a potentially harmful message that people have to look a certain way to demonstrate the gender that they are or are not. Using someone's correct personal pronouns is a way to respect them and create an inclusive environment, just as using a person's name can be a way to respect them. Just as it can be offensive or even harassing to make up a nickname for someone and call them that nickname against their will, it can be offensive or harassing to guess at someone's pronouns and refer to them using those pronouns if that is not how the person wants to be known. Or worse, actively choosing to ignore the pronouns someone has stated that they go by could imply the oppressive notion that intersex, transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people do not or should not exist. When we refer to personal pronouns, we don't mean that these pronouns are necessarily private information, because generally they are not. We mean that they are pronouns referring to a unique and individual person. Hopefully, you now have a fundamental understanding about why pronouns matter. If you'd like to know more or to hear stories from trans and gender nonconforming people about their lived experiences with pronouns, you can go to the website. There's videos, there's other really good resources, and it's definitely something that I hold dear to me, as I have many friends who do use non-binary or trans-based pronouns, and regardless, it's just something that we should normalize in our conversations. And yeah, do you guys have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Alucard.
Hello, everyone. You have heard me expound greatly on merits of I Love Ames, which is my personal event in the last term session, so to speak. So I thought, since some of you might not know very much about what the event is, what our vision is, what our plans are for next year, we'd come give you a presentation a little bit, trying to explain all of those things a little more. So here we are. So a little bit about the vision of this event. I've lived in Ames since I was 10, so this will be not my 9th year here. And what I've noticed in my time here is that there's a rift between our campus community and our long-term residential community. You can see this is emblematic in a lot of things. Take, for example, the city council rental cap controversy. How many of you were here in 2017, the fall of 2017, when that was happening? Awesome. Yeah, so I'm sure most of you remember exactly what happened and remembered how outraged some students were about the proposed changes to the rental cap code. And I've been racking my brain for a while trying to figure out why that rift is there. And I think it's because there's a lack of positive interaction between those two groups. Commonly, I think the typecast interaction, the typical interaction between the campus and community group is, say for example, somebody who lives long-term south of campus town, who is yelling at the students who live next to them, who are partying at 2 a.m. for, say, like the 3rd time that week, threatening to call the police on them if they don't shut up. That's not a very healthy relationship to have, and that's not conducive to cooperation. So my vision for this event was to have both communities come together to really experience the best that the other one has to offer, to create some of those positive experiences and to have some of that positive interaction. So to talk about what we did this year, I'll turn it over to our lovely Director of Student Services, Rachel.
Okay, so we had the first I Love Ames event this past year in September, and so it was a collaborative event between Main Street Farmers Market and Stugov. So we had student orgs being showcased at the farmers market. So we had about 18 student organizations come, and they set up little booths throughout the market and were incorporated throughout the other vendors. And so this gave the Ames community the opportunity to see what student orgs are up to, and as well as the students to come and talk to vendors at the farmers market. So next slide has some photos of some of the student orgs that came. So we had SAE, they brought their vehicles that they make for their competitions, and so there are some children that were able to sit in them and experience that. Then we had Be the Match, which matches up people with blood donors, bone marrow donors. And then we also had Bacon Expo, as well as a few others. So now I'll hand it over to Noah to talk about the future.
Hi, I added this in super last minute because I realized we didn't talk very much about the numbers of how we did this year. So we had about 400 to 500 people attend the farmers market that morning, and estimated maybe 50 to 100 students, which is great. Obviously, we would love to have a few more students there, but we understand that it is super difficult to get out to Main Street if you're unfamiliar with Cyride on a Saturday morning especially. Not the greatest time, but a lot of students made it work, and we appreciate that. We had 18 student organizations participate. We sent out a survey asking them some questions a week or two after the event. All of them gave us really positive feedback, which was great. We love to see that. Our vendors that we cooperated with from the farmers market also had some great things to say about our event. They gave us some great feedback, some great things to build on for next year, which we will absolutely be doing. And now, here's Noah to talk about the future.
Thank you, Senator. So our big thing that we are working on this time around is an expansion of the event. So we're trying to make it 2 days this time. Crazy, I know. So we had it on Saturday this year, and so now we want to do something on Friday beforehand to kind of even out how we are spreading the connection between the residents of Ames and Iowa State students. And so the I Love Iowa State is just, what it says, Ames businesses on campus. So we want to try to get some prominent businesses like from Campus Town and then like Main Street and just kind of bring them on like Central Campus or some area to where we can get, interaction between a lot more students with these, residents of Ames, because it's a little easier for students who are already on campus, going to class or whatever, to be able to stop by and at like, I don't know, 1 in the afternoon and see all these businesses and be like, okay, cool, and interact that way. As opposed to on Saturday, where we're still going to try to encourage students to go to, but that's in the morning, and students don't like waking up in the morning, so I understand. Which brings me to Saturday. So, of course, we're going to partner up with the Main Street Farmers Market again, and we're going to try to get student organizations, and hopefully we get a lot more than we had this time, just so we can get an accurate representation of all 900 clubs we have on campus and try to show off what we do to the people of Ames. And with that, we also want to try to incorporate other events that are going on at the same time as kind of an umbrella kind of thing, to where we get events like Crafts and Drafts and like Pride Fest that are going on around the same time to try to just make this one huge shebang and whatever, and just make it more convenient for all of like students and residents to see what's going on within our community. And then something that we wanted to have this year, but unfortunately we had some unforeseen roadblocks, was a special side ride route to the event. And so that's basically what it is, just a route that will go around and like pick up students a lot more conveniently than having to figure out, okay, do I take Red East to whatever and jump off and figure out how to get there. This would just be easier. And so, that's it.
So, to plan this better, this year we have multiple subcommittees. First on the list is advertising. It's gonna have 2 people, and we're also thinking of taking on a full-time graphic designer dedicated to this project. So, we know student government has a graphic designer, but we can't really steal them. So, yeah, if any of you knows anyone who is good at graphic designing and would be interested in being a part of this project, we would love to have them on board. We're also going to have 2 people talking to student organizations for the event on Saturday and talking to the farmers market to get things going smoothly. It's going to be Rachel and Noah. We're also going to have a student government table at the Saturday event. We're going to have 2 people. We're thinking manning the stalls, talking about student government as we did this year. Umbrella events, bus route, this is really going to take care of everything else that doesn't really fit neatly into the other subcommittees. The bus route, pretty self-explanatory. If there's people in Senate, hint, hint, wink, wink, Senator Schrader, could help us with this I-Right thing, we would be really happy to work with you. And then I Love Iowa State, that's essentially the event on Friday. Me and Senator Stanley will be part of the subcommittee that's talking to businesses in Campus Town, trying to get them to show up, set up white tents, and so on. So I think with that, that's the end of the presentation. If any of you have any questions, any suggestions, want to be on board, we would be happy to talk to you, hear you out. So, yeah. Questions, anyone?
Why Speaker Schrader?
Yeah, I guess please talk to SciRide sooner than later.
Mhm.
It's not a charter bus company, so
All right.
it needs to be planned out a while. I guess, so is this going to be in the spring? Are you doing a spring event? Is that-
No, this timeline would be similar to this year, so fall again,
Again,
fall,
like, isn't
next fall.
next fall?
Yep, I'm sorry, yeah.
So what happens if you are involved in student government next year? Like, I see names on here.
Uh-huh.
Is that planned into anything? I know we have a lot of turnover every year.
Right now, we would say we're still the initial stages of planning. All of this is very fluid, but most of the people on there right now, we're planning on having them around for most of the planning stage at the very least. Most of the planning, talking to businesses and so on. Yeah, you can talk if you want. Go right ahead.
Most of the planning for this is ideally going to be taking place this year, so before the end of the term. We started a little late last year, which is why we were scrambling to get everything done at the start of this session, so like when we came back from break. So ideally, if the timeline works out as it should, most of the planning will be in place before we leave for break. I know I plan to be back here next year. I think Noah does as well. And I know Adwait does as well. So we'll have at least 3 of us, but that's really why we want to get some of you involved as well. If some of you are first years and plan to come back again next year, we'd love to have you, and we'd love to have you come back and cooperate with us so that we can have some more continuity and some more returning faces to help make this event even greater the year after next, or even farther in the future.
Okay, great. I just say, like, stuff happens. Like, you never know who's going to be around next year. So having I was just like, oh, are you guys doing it in the spring? So thanks for clearing that up. I guess, yeah, that would be all I have for that. Yeah, sorry.
Any more questions? I'd love to answer.
Senator Searles.
I was, permission to address the speaker.
Go ahead.
I was curious how you got numbers, the 400 to 500 people coming to farmers market. I'm just
Yeah.
curious. That seems like really hard to count.
Yeah, no, believe me, it is. Those are not concrete numbers by any means. Those are our estimates. And we all know that estimates are notoriously finicky. So that was just the amount of people that we saw, really, that just walked by the student government booth. I know I walked around the farmer's market multiple times per hour, just checking out who was there. So this is my very rough, very, very rough estimate of how many people were there.
And then I think it said on the last slide, yeah, the advertising. So the advertising, that would be in charge of like posters and printing the posters and dispersing the posters.
Right.
for the
Well,
event.
promotional material in general. So posters, certainly flyers, things like DIS, Welcome Fest, mass emails as well.
Are you hoping to increase the numbers?
That attend the event?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. We always want to increase numbers.
Do you have an idea? I'm asking this specifically. I know this is super specific, but I know posters went up pretty late this year.
They did.
Just because of it being rushed a little bit. So I assume creating reusable posters for future years is on the agenda.
Reusable posters is a bit difficult because with our posters, we want to have dates on the posters. And last year, we shot for the bye week, the football bye week. So that changes every year. And so you see the challenge with reusable posters. The reason the posters were up super late this year is because we had some difficulty with the graphic design, which is why we want in-house graphic designer so that we can have things done over break potentially, maybe even before we go out for break. So we will be ramping up our advertising efforts to get more people in.
Senator Hanya.
Permission to address the speaker.
Yes, you may.
Given that you are planning to have a Friday event now, what, if any, changes to your budget do you see for next year?
It's hard to say because we're not sure exactly what characteristic the Friday event will take. So it's a bit hard to say right now, but the budget should not be too heavily impacted by the Friday event. Realistically, the major change that I would see impacting the budget would be the Cyride route. The Cyride route I know is going to take a lot of money, relatively speaking. The quote I was given was something like $10,000 for a one-day Cyride route, if that's correct. So I think that, relatively speaking, that'll be the major factor, and then the expenses for the event itself are fairly incidental.
Okay, and then are you planning to come back to student government next year to request funding for the event again?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, then I yield.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Moving on to adopting
wait.
tonight. Oh, my bad.
Sorry. I just wanted to give a quick word, a shout out about the special fee committee since our lovely vice speaker asked for a quick update at the last meeting. So the fee committee did meet last Tuesday. It was either Tuesday or Thursday last week. We heard from IT Services and the Iowa State Daily. They put forward their requests for their fee for this year. We had a good discussion with both of them. We will not be voting on any of the requests until we have the whole package in front of us. So I'm not sure when that will be, but I think an estimated timeline for that was January or so. So I'm not sure what's happening next week. I don't think, or my apologies, not next week, next month's meeting. But as soon as they send out the agenda and we know who's coming, I'll let you all know. So if there are any questions, please feel free to email me, contact me. You all have my number. It's in the MIS.
Howdy, y'all. So today was the first meeting that I went to for the Textbook Affordability Committee that gave a program here last week, so I'm not gonna hash that out too much. So me and Senior Director of Academic Affairs, Moody, did I get that title right? Awesome. We went there today, and then we also stopped by Student Initiatives Committee to talk a little bit about something else that we talked about at this meeting. What I would like to focus on, though, and this will be pretty quick. So from March 2nd to the 6th, this year, next spring, is going to be Open Education Week, and open education being what we talked about last week with open educational resources where they are either publicly available or either negotiable online resources that are really a lot easier to get their people's hands on. And so for that period of time, we are looking for ideas for events. And that could be something in the shape of lectures or events or programs, and the potential outreach could be to students or to faculty to adopt that. So that is from March 2nd to the 6th. And if possible, I'd like to have some of those ideas by next meeting, which would be about a month from now. So hit me up, or Senior Director of Academic Affairs, Moody, and we would love to hear your thoughts. I'll take any questions now if you have any. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Zastrow. Moving on to adopting tonight's agenda, are there any changes or additions to tonight's agenda? Senator Class.
I move to add Bill 2019-2-37F.
To
The bottom of new business, it's funding Be the Match on campus,
2019-2-
37F, 037, whatever it is. Be the Match on campus.
Is there a second? Second. There's been a second. Are there any objections in adding the particular bill to tonight's agenda? Seeing none, the bill has been added. Senator Class, you still have the floor.
I move to strike Bill 2019-2-030F, funding women who design.
There's been a motion to strike 2019-2-30F, funding women who design. And there's been a second. Are there any objections? Senator Class, you look confused.
No, I'm not confused. So,
Seeing none,
Yes,
the bill has been struck. Senator Class, you still have the floor.
do we need to do Asian Student Union? Oh, that bill, we killed in Finance Committee, so we're just striking it here to deal with it now. Also move to strike funding Asian Student Union, because we tabled that one as well. We tabled that one as well, just FYI for everyone. Do we table it?
Are you
Okay.
planning on?
We're planning on bringing it back, so.
Okay. Senator Class, do you still have the floor? Further additions or changes to tonight's agenda? There's been a motion to adopt tonight's agenda, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the agenda has been adopted. Moving on to approval of last week's minutes. Are there any changes to last week's meeting minutes? There's been a motion to approve last week's minutes, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the minutes has been approved. Moving on to committee reports, starting off with the Rules Committee with Madam Speaker.
Okay, hi everyone. In Rules on Friday, we talked more about court reform, and we also started reading through the Constitution, since that seems to have quite a few problems that we need to look at. So we just read through I think like first page and a half maybe. But then we also passed, or sent favorably, there we go, sent handling rules for senators swearing the oath of office favorably. So.
Questions for Speaker Klobuchar? Seeing none, we moved on to Finance Committee with Finance Director Mueller.
We're just seeing lots of debt contracts right now, so you'll start to see them come through. Everybody's in debt, so we're dealing with it. Let me know if you have questions about debt contracts, what they are, why we do them. Yeah, hit my line.
Questions for Finance Director Mueller? Seeing none, we moved on to Student Initiatives Committee with Senator Rowling.
Hi, everybody. So SI is going to have a pop-up shop the last week in October with Outreach and PR. So we're working with Senior Director of Communications Murphy and Director of Outreach Schwartz to organize that. SI is also currently working on a few different projects. One we're really excited about and will be coming up relatively soon is a winter weather awareness campaign, which is being headed up by one of our at-larges, Natalie. So in the next 2 weeks, we hope to have a funding bill for supplies for this project, and I'm planning on having her come in and speak further about the project next meeting or the one following. Also, Senator Searles and Senior Director of Student Services Orger and I are contacting ISU PD about continuing the campus safety walk, which we're hoping will be at the end of this month. And finally, we're working with the OER committee in order to recognize some of the professors that are using those open educational resources and other ways to make school more available and less financially hard on students.
Questions for Senator Rowling? Seeing none, we move down to PR committee with Director of Outreach, Schwartz.
Okay. Hi, guys. So PR met yesterday. Like Senator Rowling said, we're kind of, oh. You guys hear me or no? Okay. So we PR met yesterday. We're meeting with, well, we're working with Senator Rowling on the pop-up shops, like she said. A couple other things. Victory Lane, like we're painting Victory Lane on October 19th, so this Saturday at 3 p.m. So if you want to come and help us paint, that'll be really fun. You don't have to be artistic to come, so please come. And then the homecoming parade is this Sunday at 2 p.m. If you have not given me your waiver, you should do that today because I have to turn them in today. So, if you could get that to me by the end of Senate, you can just email me that. And I think that's it.
Questions? Seeing none, we moved on to diversity and inclusion with Senator Samuel.
Yeah, so we didn't have a meeting yesterday. We're just working on our initiatives, so there's no update this week.
Questions? Seeing none, we move on to civic engagement with Senator Tonet.
All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Civic engagement had a very good meeting today. I was really happy about it. We started working on quite a few initiatives. A couple big dates coming up that you all should know about. Tomorrow night is the Mock Caucus event. It's at 6 to 8 p.m. It is in the sunroom at, wait, no, not the sunroom. It's in the South Ballroom, 6 to 8 p.m. Please be there. Please bring all your friends. It's going to be an awesome event. 2 weeks from now, in the sunroom, this is where the confusion one is. In the sunroom in 2 weeks is an Ames local candidate forum with the 3 candidates running for the Ward 4 election in the city council. That's going to be really cool, and it's on campus, so you really don't have an excuse to not go. Yeah, that's really all I had right now, but it was a really good meeting.
Questions for Senator Tonet? Seeing none, we move down to comments from the executive branch, and since President Graber's gone, I'll be giving the executive branch update. So the update has been sent, so y'all can read through that. President Graber and I are going to different resident halls for our resident hall homecoming event that we ran on. It'll be, they would have the opportunity to decorate their resident hall, kind of a common space, all through Monday to Thursday, and the judging would be done on Friday. Our election commissioner, Rizwick, is really working hard on the election code proposals. So she's on the Facebook group. She's putting up ideas that she thinks is really helpful. So she's really looking for any suggestions that you all have. So make sure to, if you have any suggestions regarding that, make sure to reach out to her. This past Monday during our cabinet meeting, we came up with this idea of basically submit an idea. So if you go on to our Stugov website, this is something that we seen that we actually work for students, so students can actually, through this platform, students can actually go in and submit an idea, and then our director of IT, Shubham, can send it out to respective committee chairs, so that the committee chairs can look into it and actually reach out to the students, so that in proportion, we're actually serving the students and taking students' ideas to kind of implement it to better this whole student experience. This was yesterday or day before. President Graber and I met with Director of Residency Pete Englund, and so the university is looking into a 3 to 5 year university-wide facility strategic plan. And they have hired a third-party firm that's going to be here the week of November 4th. So they're going to be doing a lot more town halls during that particular week, and we'll be visiting a lot more student organizations to get how we can better the student experience in terms of the electricity usage, whether this lecture hall is kind of big enough or small enough for students. Is it being utilized the way it should be? And they would be able to take suggestions from you and then bring a report to the university that the university will be working on. So look forward to that. And on Friday, President Graber and I will be meeting with the university marketing, the director of university marketing, to renegotiate our agreement that we had that would allow us to have a logo for student government. So we'll keep you updated on that and how that goes. And if y'all have any questions, send it to us as well. Questions? Senator Alucard.
So with the logo for student government, I know that GPSS actually has a logo. Would that be something different, or like is it still, because they have like a Senate I'm not sure, you might actually be able to speak more on it, but just because they're also a Senate, like will we be crisscrossing, I guess, wires if we have a Senate logo that's not distinct from theirs?
So it's going to be a logo that's going to be used for like basically student government branding.
Okay.
It's just not going to be Senate logo, so it's going to be used for like anything in the near future. So basically any branding that student government does, that logo will be used.
Okay.
And I think so President Graber did send out the logo that we are kind of working towards. You can check within the executive update. It has been attached, so y'all can check that out because it was designed by our graphic designer.
Okay, cool. I yield.
Good question, though. Further questions? Seeing none, we move down to external matters. Within external matters, general orders 2019-2-18F, funding Asian Student Association with Senator Bender. Mike.
I move to table it indefinitely.
There's been a motion to table this bill indefinitely, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the bill has been tabled. Moving down to 2019-2-28F, funding Cardinal Eats with Senator Lipford.
I believe we have a representative here. Or, yeah, so you can go up to the lectern and just explain your bill a little bit for us.
Hi, I'm Allison Kilibarda. So Cardinal Eats is a new-ish publication. It is a magazine all about food, and it was archived last spring because nobody wanted to fulfill the leadership position. So we created a team this fall, and we're trying to get a magazine out. So we're requesting funding for printing, shipping, advertising, and then like ingredients for the food to be photographed and put in the magazine.
Questions for our speaker? Senator Lipford.
I move to accept the amendments from Finance Committee. I sent it to you like 20 minutes ago. It's my bad.
There's been a motion to accept the amendments proposed by the Finance Committee. And there's been a second. We move into discussion. Senator Lipford. There's been a call to question on the amendments, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll move into a placard vote. There's been a call for unanimous consent. Are there any objections in approving the amendments by the way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, the amendment stands approved. Senator Lifford, you still have the floor. Senator Klein.
Not going to forget this week. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the magazine? Like, what do you guys have, like, a specialty on those?
Yeah, so the last one that was created was kind of like a bar and grill theme. So it talked about different cocktails and like the different glasses that you use for them, and then like the different hot spots in Ames to get deals on like at certain bars and stuff. And so this fall edition will come out in December, the first week is what we're planning on. And so it'll be like a holiday edition, but we are doing a cultural spin on it, and we're trying to like interview international students and hear how they celebrate their holidays and recipes from different cultures.
How frequently would this magazine come out once it's up and running?
It would be once a semester.
I yield.
Senator Heasley.
May I address the speaker?
Yes, you may.
Hi, thanks for coming in. So, do you hope that this magazine will be printed once every semester for however long?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of fundraising do you guys do for your organization to help fund this?
Yeah, so we've been doing a few little ones throughout the community. We just did one with Orange Leaf, and then we have one with Culver's set up, and if we need to, we'll do like Five Guys too, so other outside restaurants and stuff.
Okay, gotcha. And have you considered doing like advertising in your magazines to help with that cost?
Yeah, we're working on that right now as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's all the questions I have, so I yield.
Senator Klein.
There you go. Hi, thank you for coming in.
Mhm.
So is help better? Better? Yes. Awesome. Okay, so is the magazine available on subscription, or are you just going to be?
It'll be something like Trend Magazine, you know how it comes out once a semester, and then it's just kind of out there for anybody to grab. It'll be just like that.
Placing them around like
Yeah.
dining centers and stuff. Okay. How many copies? I guess it's the quantity up there is just
500, I think, is
500 copies.
what we are trying for.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's all my questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Senators Samanu.
May I know where you guys are printing the magazine?
Where? I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
May I ask you another question?
Yes.
Do you know how much it cost per book?
No, but the total for 500 magazines was around $2,100, I believe. I don't know the exact amount off the top of my head.
But you don't know where you're gonna print.
I don't know personally. I'm stepping in for the president. She's gone, so I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay. Did you went to the Hamilton? Because for journalism majors, they have like a special printing machines over there. Did you consult them?
I'm not a journalism student, but
Any of in your group?
I don't know. I'm sorry for the lack of information.
Okay. You should also try to consult the Hamilton building.
Okay, yeah, I will relay that message.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Do you yield? Senator Johnson.
Okay, so you said that it had had problems like with transition of leadership before. Is there
Mhm.
something in place now to make sure that you won't have the same problems in the next couple of years at least?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have been recruiting younger students and hoping to pass it on to them. So that would be the mechanism we have in place, recruiting younger students.
How is that recruiting going right now?
Really well, yeah.
So basically the senior people are mentoring the
Yes,
the
precisely.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
To yield. Further questions? There's been a call to question on the bill, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote. Senator Advet? Yes. Alucard? Yes. Bender? Yes. Blair? Yes. Khan? Yes. Crab? Yes. Culbertson? Yes. Dowlinger? Yes. Fritz? Green? Yes. Gonzalez? Yes. Hanyang? Yes. Heasley? Yes. Johnson? Yes. Class? Yes. Klein? Yes. Klein? Yes. Lipford? Yes. Ludwig? Yes. Meredith? Yes. Mitchell? Yes. Origer? Yes. Rice? Yes. Rolling? Yes. Samanu? Yes. Schrader? Yes. Searles? Yes. Stanley? Yes. Samuel? Yes. Toinette? Yes. Zastro? Yes. With a vote of 30 to 0 to 0, this funding request passes.
Thank you.
Moving on to 2019-2-29F, Funding Society of Automated Engineers with Senator Lipford.
I believe the representative from the group is here, so you can go and explain what we talked about last night.
Yeah, how's everyone doing? I'll let this load up. My name is Josh Zine. I'm the treasurer of SA International, so representing our club. What would you like?
If you just want to talk about what SAE does,
Sure.
where the
So
goals are, and things like that.
Absolutely. So we've been around since 1969. We were originally formed the university. We have 5 active teams within our club. We have an aero division that builds an airplane. We have a formula division, a Baja division, a super mileage division, and a snowmobile engineering division. So we're essentially acting pretty much as 5 clubs under one name. And that's just how we've been doing it for 50 years, and it's been working well so far. So usually we are in spring allocations. There was a technical issue, and no one in our club received the email for spring allocations until after they happened this year. So we've been working to get these fall allocations to try to buffer some of the blow. I don't know if you guys have our budget up, but you can tell it's big. Student government usually funds about 15% of our budget. And other than that, we have well over 100 corporate sponsors we work with. We travel internationally, technically, to Canada. We travel, I believe, at least 10 times a year to different competitions to represent the university. And we field a lot of outreach events locally in Ames and across multiple states in the Midwest, actually. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Senator Class.
I move to propose the Finance Committee amendments.
There's been a motion to move to adopt the Finance Committee.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah, the bill came in, it didn't have the actual amendment, so what came to us as Senate was $6,622.97. The Finance Committee amendment is to change it to $6,188.47. So the Finance Committee amendment already looks accepted on there, I guess.
Finance Director Mueller.
The only thing that's the difference, so in last week's packet that Kelsey sent out was the actual Excel breakdown. The only thing we changed was there was one thing where we were funding the truck. I accidentally just hadn't moved that over yet, and so we cut that to get down to the 6188. So it was just one thing that we zero funded for the truck, because we zero funded the rest of the trucks. So if you look at last week's packet, the Excel file is in there.
Awesome. Senator Class. We're on the amendment. There's been a call to question on the amendment. There's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll move into a placard vote. There's been a call for unanimous consent. Are there any objections in approving the amendments by the way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, the amendment stands approved. Senator Class, you still have the floor. Senator Klein.
I can hear you.
You mentioned that this is like 5 clubs under one, right? In a sense?
In a sense. Technically, we are officially 5 teams.
5 teams, okay.
Yes.
How many total members do you have?
Last count, we had over 200.
Okay, so this is a pretty
Yes.
sizable club. Do you guys have any dues or anything like that?
We have a
pay?
$20 a year due per member.
Okay. And how close is this 6,000 towards funding that 15%? Is that pretty close, or is
No.
that okay?
Last year we received 21,200 from student
Okay.
government, so that's more 15%.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Senator Yield? Further motions, questions? Senator Zastro?
Yeah, I have the Excel spreadsheet up here. The total for the club over the course of the entire of the year is $156,676, and we're funding 6,000 of that, which is much less than 15%. However, because of the technical issues, they didn't come to us during regular allocations. They have worked closely with Finance Director Mueller to make this as reasonable as it can get. It has been thoroughly combed for PNC, so with that, I will call the question.
Second.
There's been a call to question on the bill as a whole, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we move into a roll call vote. Senator Advet? Alucard? Bender? Blair? Khan? Crab? Culbertson? Dollinger? Green? Gonzalez? Hanyang? Johnson? Class? Klein? Klein? Lipford? Ludwig? Mass? Meredith? Mitchell? Origer? Rice? Rolling? Samanu? Schrader? Searles? Stanley? Samuel? Chonet? Zastro? Alucard? Heasley? With a vote of 30 to 0 to 0, this funding request passes.
Thank you, guys.
Moving on to internal matters. Within internal matters, special orders 2019-2-40 SG, seating at largest to Student Initiatives Committee with Senator Rowling.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that lag in the mic. So this is seating Laura. Laura is going to be our final at-large for student initiatives if she's voted upon tonight. Unfortunately, she can't be here due to a prior time commitment that she has at this time, so she sent me a little blurb to go ahead and read here at Senate. So she said, "Hi, my name is Laura Virgilio. I am a sophomore double majoring in management and marketing. I am from Wheaton, Illinois. I would love to be a part of this committee because I think it's one of the most unique organizations on campus. Usually when students want something to be done with problems that they see happening on campus, they go and try to talk to administration about it. What is different and unique about this club is that students get to have student-to-student contact immediately. Students' voices are heard, and it is a direct connection to work, and we can make changes that will benefit everyone. I love already what this committee has done with I Love Ames and the standing desk tables in the library. Currently, I don't have anything in particular that I can think of to contribute, but I am extremely excited to start brainstorming and making positive changes to our campus."
Do you yield?
I yield.
Senator Stanley?
All right, Laura and I have talked, and I really liked her answers to the questions that I asked her, one in particular. So with that in mind, I'll call the question.
Second.
There's been a call to question on the bill as a whole, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote. There's been a call for unanimous consent. Are there any objections in approving the nominee by the way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, congratulations. Moving on to 2019-2-26F, within general orders, funding second AV technician for Senate Stream with Senator Hanyang.
Hey guys, like you've known over the past few weeks, we sent the mics to the room, so thanks for bearing with the technical issues tonight. Of course, it's the night where we actually introduce this bill and vote it, or when we vote on this bill where we have the most issues. So it's pretty straightforward. Our second technician is something that when I first started working in the stream that I really needed. I couldn't be everywhere at once, especially with changing batteries, and it's a really good learning experience for somebody who has never been a part of streaming technologies to kind of be a part of. I'd just like to read off some numbers about the price and quantity that you might be wondering about, where we got that $108 and the quantity of 24 from. 24 is the number of meetings listed on the OFP website for the first AV technician, and the $108 is 9 hours over a $12 rate. The $12, or the 9 hours, I should say, is a 4 p.m. setup to at latest a 1 a.m. teardown, which means that at latest our meetings go till midnight. So hopefully our meetings aren't regularly going to midnight, but that's kind of the logic behind it. So I yield.
Further questions, motions? Speaker Culbertson.
Senator Hanyang, would you take it as friendly to add the price to the total column?
Yes.
There's to yield. Further motions? There's been a call to question on the bill, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote. Senator Advet. Olacard. Bender. Blair. Khan. Crab. Culbertson. Dollinger. Green. Gonzalez. Hanyang. Heasley. Johnson. Class. Klein. Klein. Lipford. Ludwig. Mass. Meredith. Mitchell. Origer. Rice. Rinchi. Rolling. Samanu. Schrader. Searles. Stanley. Samuel. Toinette. Zastro. With a vote of 29 to 0 to 1, this bill passes. Moving on to 2019-2-32Y, handing rules for Senator swearing the oath of office with Senator Rice.
All right, so the bill clears up a hole that we currently have in our bylaws. As of right now, the bylaws are not clear about what happens if someone is elected, accepts the seat from Election Commission, but does not swear their oath of office. The new rule will give newly elected senators until the end of the first session in the spring semester to swear in. Otherwise, the seat becomes vacant. Like I said, it fixes current loopholes in our bylaws to fix problems of candidates for Senate who get elected but never show up to be sworn in.
Do you?
Yes.
Questions? Senator Heasley.
I guess I'll direct this question towards Senator Schrader, or Vice Speaker Schrader, excuse me. So what happens if, say, you get elected, but you have like a class at that time just for the last 2 or 3 meetings of the first term, but then next semester you will be free at that time? Is there a way that we can be excused, or anybody can be excused, so they can still be a senator whenever they'll actually be attending multiple, more than a couple, end of the year meetings?
According to this bill, they would not be seated. I suppose you could just say leave your class for 5 minutes or something, but maybe that's an amendment you would like to make, that taking out at any meeting of the Senate would probably do that job, and letting the speaker administer it wherever, not necessarily in a Senate meeting, would provide flexibility for that way if you would like to do it, but you are correct in your current reading.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would like to do that. What line? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I would like to. I move to add in that, the senator shall sign that, the senator shall then sign a written copy of the oath of office to be kept in, wait, I'm sorry, I don't know how I should, word this.
Wait. Senator Yield? Senator Ludwig?
So it says in the, I believe, third to last enacted clause, the oath of office shall be administered verbally by the Speaker at any meeting of the Senate. We could just change that to at any time before the end of the first session. So I would motion to change the wording in that enacted clause to administered verbally by the Speaker at any time before the end of the first session.
There's been a motion to amend the third enacted clause from the bottom to the following amendment, and there's been a second. We move into discussion. Senator Ludwig.
I'm gonna yield to Senator Mass.
Senator Mass, you're not in session just because you have.
I'm yielding to him.
All right, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Senator Heasley, does this fit your concerns?
Yes, I think it does.
Okay, I would suggest a friendly amendment to Senator Ludwig to keep of the Senate to specify what session we are talking about. Does Senator Ludwig accept?
Yeah.
Yeah, with that, I think this is non-controversial. I would call the question.
Senator Ludwig's time.
Yes.
I would use my time to call the question.
Second. There's been a call to question on the amendment, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? There's been an objection. Do you withdraw? Senator Ludwig?
Yeah.
All right. Senator Toinette.
Yeah, so I wanted to draw attention to the enacted clause before that. So it says if a senator-elect fails to take the oath of office within first session, okay.
Yes.
I thought that was
call that.
first meeting, so I'll call the question.
There's been a call to question on the amendment, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll move into a placard vote. There's been a call for unanimous consent. Are there any objections in approving the amendment by the way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, the amendment stands approved. Senator Ludwig, you still have the floor.
I yield.
All right, there's been a quorum call. Present or here. Advet. Alucard. Bender. Blair. Khan. Crab. Culbertson. Dollinger. Fritz.
Here.
Green. Gonzalez. Hanyang. Heasley. Johnson. Class. Klein. Klein. Lipford. Ludwig. Mass. Meredith. Mitchell. Orger. Rice. Rinchi. Rolling. Samanu. Schrader. Searles. Stanley. Samuel. Tonette. Zastro. Khan. Khan. All right, we do have quorum. Senator Stanley.
I move to amend the fourth enacted clause currently on this page. I move to amend the clause by stating that the oath of office shall be administered verbally by the Speaker at any time before the end of the first session of the Senate, or the senator may sign a written copy of the oath of office, et cetera, et cetera. So I would be adding or, and then striking shall and adding may. Apologies, striking shall then and then adding may.
There's been a motion to amend the bill.
Then as well.
Is that correct, Senator Stanley?
Yes, the then as well, but yes, that is correct.
There's been a motion to move to amend the current bill as stated above, and is there a second? There's been a second. We'll move into discussion. Senator Stanley.
Yeah, so this just gives people the option to do one or the other. I thought it would just be nice for people to have the option to do one or the other, so I'll hear discussion.
Sarah Mass.
Well, I appreciate Senator Stanley's intent. I believe that this amendment would make the act unconstitutional. If you read the whereas clauses stated above in the act, one of them cites the Constitution in saying that senators must sign a paper copy. That has currently not been in practice. However, this would just bring the bylaws and Constitution back into mesh. I yield.
Do you withdraw? Awesome. We move back. Senator Stanley, you still had the floor. There's been a call to question on the bill as a whole, and there's been a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote. We can't. There's a bylaw change. Sorry. Senator Alucard. Advet. Bender. Blair. Crabb. Culbertson. Dollinger. Fritz. Green. Gonzalez. Hanyang. Heasley. Johnson. Class. Klein. Klein. Lipford. Ludwig. Mass. Meredith. Mitchell. Origer. Rice. Rolling. Samanu. Schrader. Searles. Stanley. Samuel. Tonet. Zastro. With a vote of 31 to 0 to 0, this funding request, this bylaw change bill passes. There's been a quorum call. Advet. Alucard. Bender. Blair. Khan. Crabb. Culbertson. Dollinger. Fritz. Green. Gonzalez. Hanyang. Heasley. Johnson. Class. Klein. Klein. Lipford. Ludwig. Mass. Meredith. Mitchell. Origer. Rice. Rinchi. Rolling. Samanu. Schrader. Searles. Stanley. Samuel. Tonet. Zastro. Mass. We do have quorum. Moving on to new business. Within new business, we have 2019-2-32F, funding genre, with Senator Zastro.
Yeah, so Genre's coming back for a little more funding. We denied the funding that they were requesting for over this line item, I believe in Finance Committee. It might have been in the Senate. Because they didn't have enough specifics. They just had a general, we will use this money to buy practice space, but they didn't have a specific place. Now the M Shop has given them a quote, so they're coming for us for that. We'll see that in Finance Committee on Tuesday. I'll take any questions if anyone has them.
Questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll see this one next week. Moving on to 2019-2-34F, funding hockey pep band with Senator Lifford.
Title. Yeah, so this is just another general funding request.
Questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll see this one next week. Moving on to 2019-2-35F, Revival Club Dep contract with Vice Chair Lifford.
Title. Yep, as Madison explained, this is a debt contract for Revival.
Questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll see this one next week. Moving on to 2019-2-36F, Men's Ultimate Frisbee Club Depth Contract with Vice Chair Lifford.
Title. Debt contract for Ultimate Frisbee Club.
Questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll see this one next week. Moving on to 2019-2-35Y, Fixing Mentorship Assignments with Senator Mass. Vice Speaker Schrader.
Title.
Questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll see this one next week. Moving on to 2019-2-36Y, Merging Sustainability and Green Initiatives Fund Committee with Senator Ludwig.
Yeah, so this is a,
It's a first read. You gotta-
sorry,
Now you can go ahead and explain it.
apologies. Yeah, so this is kind of just doing what the title says. We'll obviously talk more about it next week, but if you have any questions, you can talk to either Senator Mass or myself. So,
Questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll see this one next week. Moving on to 2019-2-37Y, Treasurer Reform Act with Senator Ludwig.
title? Yeah, so this is something I talked to y'all about last week, just that we found a treasurer section in the bylaws because someone removed on accident a couple years ago. So this is just updating it to fit our current kind of structure in the government, so.
Questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll see this one next week. Moving on to 2019-2-38Y, updating constituency councils with Senator Alcott.
I didn't realize I was going to go over this. Title. So proud. So this is just updating changes within, I believe, the business constituency council, my own constituency council, just to reflect the current way things are. I'll take any questions if you have them.
Questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll see this one next week. Moving on to 2019-2-39SZ, fixing UROC Campustown constitutional confusion with Vice Speaker Schrader.
Title.
So Campustown used to have a senator that was part of UROC. A constitutional amendment was passed that took Campustown out, but it didn't actually took out the thing that described Campustown. So the Constitution's kind of broke currently, and that depending on how you read it, either everyone that's not living in Campustown can't be a UROC senator, or everyone that is living in Campustown can't be a UROC senator, which obviously was not the original intent. So this bill would put a question on the ballot next spring to take out the rest of the line that they forgot to take out in 2016. So if we pass this, it would go on the ballot for a question for the student body next spring.
Questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll see this one next week. 2019-2-37F, funding Be the Match on Campus with Senator Class.
Title. We'll see this in Finance Committee next week.
Questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll see this one next week. Closing announcements. Senator Khan.
Hello. This Friday is National Campus Sustainability Day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I highly suggest that all of you come because it's a fun time. Free bike tune-ups, snacks, coffee. You get a ton of cool prizes. Last year I got this bamboo spork / knife sort of dealio. It was pretty rad. But yeah, you should all come. Also, Green Initiatives Fund Committee will be there. And we will have worms. Thank you. And sustainability.
Senator Klein.
So I just wanted to mention, I'm currently working on, as part of diversity and inclusion, a history week project. If anyone here has any ideas for anyone who, Heroes Week, I'm sorry. If anyone here has any ideas for anyone who might be a hero of some kind of movement, please feel free to talk to myself or Senator Samuel about it. We'd love to hear everyone's ideas. So.
Senator Meredith.
Hi, everyone. So for our social media, we're going to do a project where we have some posts about getting to know all of the senators. So you'll see an email from me soon asking you to fill out a form with some information about yourself. Please fill it out in a timely manner. That way I can get all of that put together. If you have any questions, let me know.
Senator Han Young.
Hey y'all, so this Friday at 7:30 p.m. in the Music Hall, Iowa State Singers has a concert. It's our home concert, so we'll be singing 2 sets of music there. It's really good stuff. Really excited for it. So tickets are $5 at the door if you want to join on your Friday nights. In addition to singing, it is Senator Samuel's birthday today, so she's requested that I lead happy birthday in her when this meeting gets over. So catch me doing that.
Senator Dollinger.
There we go. Hi, everyone. UROC is doing 2 fundraisers in the next coming weeks. Next Thursday, October 24th, we are doing a Blaze fundraiser from 5 to 9 p.m., so treat yourself to some pizza and support UROC. And we're also selling Coca-Cola, water, and lemonade for $1 outside the free speech zone from 11 to 2 p.m. on Halloween. So, yeah, I'll be sending out both of the posters to everyone. If you guys want to share, help us out, that'd be great. Thanks.
Senator Stanley.
All right. Hello, everyone. Excellent meeting. Very quick. Love to see it. Shout out to Senator Crabb. I heard you were reading Robert's Rules in the office the other day, so big shout out. Love to see that as well. I gave a presentation on I Love Ames. I shouldn't say I. We all gave a presentation on I Love Ames earlier this meeting, so just want to reiterate, if you would like to join, please come talk to me. We'd love to have new faces who can potentially keep it going after we are gone. And Senior Director Orger has asked me to do a plug for the signups for Walk Bike Drive Smart on the MIS. They are on the MIS, so please find that there. Thank you, and great meeting again.
Senator Heasley.
Howdy, everyone. First off, sorry about goobering up that that emotion. I should have saw that well in advance. So thank you, Senator Ludwig, for fixing that, and Senator Stanley for helping out. As is my beat. And then also, for those of you who are challenging my skills to say move to consider as read, you've brought my light back to Senate. And with that, I yield.
Senator Ludwig.
Howdy, everyone. I'm a student government representative on the lectures committee, and there are a lot of awesome lectures that come to campus, so I've decided week to week I'm going to kind of give you guys a heads up what's coming up. So next week, there on Monday at 6 p.m. in Hatch Hall Atrium, there's the Evolving Identity of the Latino with Alfredo Mirande. And then on Tuesday, October 22nd, there at 4:10 p.m. in the at 18 Horticulture Hall, there's the Importance of Harvest Weed Seed Control with Dr. Michael Walsh. That's for maybe some specific audiences. And then on Tuesday, again, at 5 p.m. in the Pioneer Room of the Memorial Union, there is Making Government Better Through Open Science, Real-Life Examples of Truly Smarter Cities with Tom Schneck. And yeah, that's kind of what we got coming up before next week's meeting. So you guys should all definitely try and make it to those. They're all really awesome, and you are all paying for them as well. So, you know, yep, that's it. Thanks.
Senator Zastro, Senator that. Go ahead.
That's me. One more plug. Please email me or Senator Director of Academic Affairs Moody if you have an idea about Open Education Week, sometimes in the next month, I will continue to remind you guys about bringing me ideas for that. Thank you. I yield.
Senator Toinette.
Hello, so again, one more plug. Tomorrow, 6 to 8 p.m., South Ballroom is the Mock Caucus event. Please come, please bring your friends. There's free chocolate and candy if you participate. They promised at least 2 pieces of candy, so I mean, not trying to brag, but that's a lot of candy per person. That's 2 more pieces of candy than you probably would have otherwise. So would recommend, please come, I will be there. Say hey to your boy. That's it.
Senator Blair.
One last plug. This coming Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the Pride Lounge of the Memorial Union, you can vote early for this fall's municipal election. So look at the candidates, both city council and school board, and register and vote at the same time on your own time early. So that's all.
Director of Health and Wellness.
Hi. Okay, so just a quick plug for our Spirits in the Garden event with those like thousands of pumpkins. It's super exciting. So Vice President Vish said that like the students actually carved the pumpkins, so I think that's really cool. You're supposed to come in a costume, and there's trick-or-treating before, so if you totally want to do that, you're more than welcome. But 7 to 10 is when they light the pumpkins, so I figured we could walk around and be kind of fun. Also, Senator Alucard talked today about pronouns and everything. I noticed some of you said guys when you're talking to us, and that's still like considering pronouns and stuff, so that's in center of community and inclusivity. So Senator Rowling does a good job of saying everybody, so if you can keep it to something like that, that's a little more inclusive than guys. I know you maybe don't mean to, but just something to keep in your head. Thanks.
Chief of Staff Kuzel.
Hi, everybody. Once again, leadership breakout on Thursday, continuing the train. So last week we ended the inspiring a shared vision, and then so this week we'll be starting on the first part of challenging the process, which is super fun. So we're gonna look into finding inspiration and what that looks like, maybe looking outside of what we do at Iowa State and getting our perspectives and ideas, things from other people. So it'll be super fun. Please come, 5 p.m. in the Senate office. If you have any questions, please ask Alex or I. Thank you.
Senior Director of Academic Affairs, Moody.
Hi, y'all. So I know you've heard about open education resources a lot lately, but that's cool because it's really cool and one of the really great ways that we can reduce costs for students. But another little shameless plug, we're really wanting to get student videos of people talking about like how textbook prices has affected their education, both like positively and negatively. Like if you've had professors that have really done well and like trying to make things affordable for you, because we're using that especially in March 2nd through the 6th for Open Educational Resources Week. They actually use this as a tool when they go to present to departments and faculty to try to encourage them to get on board with open education resources. So if any of you are interested, it literally takes like 30 minutes. You go to the library. Abby, who is lovely and came to talk to us last week, is there asking you questions, and then you're out the door. So if you're interested, which I hope you are because we need more people, you can email me and I'll get you in touch with Abby. So yeah, that's all. Bye.
Awesome. Just a couple of comments from my side. So lectures committee, as Senator Ludwig talked about, are still looking for people to sit on that. It's a big list of 15 students, I suppose, that when I talked to Dr. Knief, she mentioned that it's a very cool committee. You only meet twice in an academic year. Is that what she mentioned? Couple times a semester, and you get to actually discuss what speakers you want to bring in to Iowa State. So that's a really cool opportunity to kind of, and you actually get to like eat dinner with a couple of them. Do you get the opportunity as well? So it's a pretty cool opportunity, and if you're still interested in that, they're still looking for representatives. So email me, shoot me a text, group me, anything would work if you're still interested. Also, don't forget, this Sunday, 2 p.m., homecoming parade. For people who are new, it's a really awesome event. You get to actually walk around the whole downtown Ames, actually like handing out candy. And there's little kids that get excited when you hand out candy. So it's always really a charming moment. It'll uplift your mood as well. So look out for that. 3 p.m. on Saturday, painting Victory Lane. We'll show some skills. We'll be the best one. I'm pretty certain about that. With that, Vice Speaker Schrader.
Yeah, just real quick, like when you send bills in, please make sure that it has a date on it. It doesn't say date. For some reason, whatever template someone's using, like I think that's a template. Like you're supposed to back out a date and then put the date in. So I did that for like half the bills the last 2 weeks. So I would really appreciate it if there was the actual date you're going to introduce it on first read for Senate. And in 2 weeks, yes, 2 weeks, we'll have our Senate meeting the day before Halloween. So the tradition is to dress up in a costume for that meeting. So there's been some pretty good costumes in the past. I mean, we had Vice President Smith dressed up as an ear of corn while he chaired the meeting one year. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Senator Freestone dressed up as Darth Sidious and then reorganized us into the First Galactic Senate. So it's just people go all out and it'll be pretty fun. I think it's kind of a fun thing we do. As we're kind of getting closer to the end of the first semester, second semester, the session gets cut short because you have elections in the last couple of weeks are for the new Senate. So if you have passionate ideas, if you have areas that you want to get stuff done, probably start working on that sooner than later before it's kind of sneaked up on you and there's not enough time to get it done. So by being in this room, you have a great platform, you have a lot of respectability, you can go into places in the university that other students can't. So please take advantage of that. Don't just sit in the room with all these ideas and then never do anything about them. We're a very lucky group of people to have this platform. And so let's hopefully get out and use it, especially if you already have something in mind or if you have an area you're passionate about. I'd be happy to help. You have mentors who should be able to help if you're confused about it. So please just, if you have something that you want to get done, let's get it done and be a productive year. So,
Speaker Culbertson.
Cool. Okay, quick side note about the Halloween meeting. Super excited. Please dress up. It'll be really awesome. It's more fun when everyone does it. Martino Harmon's going to be coming. He knows that we're dressing up, so don't be nervous to dress up because of that. But also, of course, just make sure your costumes are appropriate. If you need a vision of what's appropriate, then you can check my Facebook page. I have pictures of past Stugov costumes and stuff like that. So if you need a range for what's appropriate, you can check there. But please dress up. It's seriously so much fun. Okay, I'm going to give you a rundown of what your weekend could look like if you want to spend it with Stugov. So first, you can come paint Victory Lane with us at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Also, these things are things I'm going to be at, so if you want to come hang out with me, come do that. But yeah, you can paint Victory Lane with us at 3 o'clock on Saturday. It's super fun. Like it was said, you don't have to be artistic. I'm not, and it's super fun. Someone can trace it, and you can just paint in the colors, so it's super fun. And it stays up there for I don't even know how long, so you get to have a permanent piece of art for a while. And then next, we're having the Stugov get-together, like Ryan mentioned, at 7 o'clock at Reman Gardens. It's going to be super fun. We're going to walk around, look at pumpkins, all that good stuff, so please come to that. And then third, the parade on Sunday at 2. If you don't want to be in it, you should at least come see it so we can all wave to you. You can see me hand out way too much candy to people. I usually finish it within the first fourth of the parade because kids are cute and I don't want to not give them candy. And then last, right after the parade, we're going to do a Stugov cleanup. So if you want to help us clean up the office and make it look nice and then also get some pizza, that will be free for anyone who attends. So basically just right after the parade, that's what we'll be doing. So yeah. Oh yeah, and then next week, we're going to be having our Senate meeting starting at 6 o'clock because we're going to be having a joint meeting with City Council. So City Council members, not all of them, but a good number of them, and the mayor, and a lot of administrative people will be here, and we'll have an agenda that we're going to send out. We'll talk about certain kind of topics that relate to us and the city. If you can't make it to that, just let us know, but that'll be starting at 6 o'clock next week, and it'll be here, so. Yeah, super exciting. And then also, if you're interested at all in the task force that we've been talking about to spruce up our student government space, and then also if you want to be on a task force to spruce up the East Sauce and the West Sauce or give ideas for that, let me know. Because we're starting those soon, so yeah. Go Cyclones. Move to adjourn.